Today, I have a very special guest, my oldest daughter, Addison. For those of you who don't know my story, Addison is the inspiration behind this business. She is the child who quickly humbled me and helped me learn that not every child is going to be by the book or do what the books say. Despite reading multiple books on sleep and getting lots of advice from friends, sleep training never went as planned with Addison, and we had many false starts and stops. It wasn't until she was nearly 2 years old that we hired a sleep consultant, and within a couple weeks, she was sleeping really well. That entire experience inspired me to want to understand the science of sleep and why some babies and children seem to struggle with sleep. I actually initially got certified as a sleep consultant just so I could know how to best support my own children in their sleep journey. I've been wanting to bring Addison on for a while now and thought this was the perfect time because Halloween is just around the corner. Addison, I've already noted, is not supernaturally inclined to sleep well, and she has to work hard at her sleep, but she's also prone to worrying and she's prone to having nightmares. Sensitive children like Addison are the children who are most likely to have a sleep regression triggered by Halloween. So, Addison and I are going to talk about ways to help your child stay on track even if they are exposed to someone or something that could trigger nighttime fears or nightmares. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of two. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. Hey, Addison. Welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you on to talk a little bit about nightmares and nighttime fears because it's October, which means Halloween is just around the corner, which can often freak a lot of kids out. So, can you tell everyone how old you are and what grade you're in?
I am 9 years old and I'm in 4th grade.
And we talk a lot about sleep in this house, don't we?
Yes, we talk a lot about sleep.
And what helps you get a good night of sleep?
What I think helps me get a good night of sleep is not running around before bedtime and not eating a lot of sugar before bed.
Yeah,
Not watching a scary movie.
definitely. And you are someone who's had nightmares before, aren't you?
Definitely.
And your sister, she doesn't really have nightmares, does she?
She says she doesn't dream at all.
Right. So some people are more likely to have nightmares or dream. And you know who else in this family has nightmares?
You?
Me. Can you share what might trigger or make you have a nightmare or a bad dream?
If you think too much about bad things, or if you watch a movie right before bed, or sometimes even if you just get really into your head.
Right. Sometimes you just get into your head thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do have a nightmare, what do you do to help yourself go back to sleep when you wake up?
What I think about is my family goes on a lot of trips. So I think about upcoming trips. I think about going to Disney World. I think about visiting my family. And I think about I've never been hurt in this house once.
We talk about that, right? How you're
Yes.
always safe in the house. So what do I like to tell you?
You like to tell me you've been in this house for 9 years and not once have you been unsafe.
Right. And there's always a grown up in the house, right?
Yes.
You're always safe here. And if parents are listening and they have a child who has bad dreams, what do you think they should know or things that they might be able to do to help their child?
I think that you should tell them that monsters aren't real and that they've never been hurt, and there's always going to be an adult with them. And even if there is something that could harm them, then the adults will take care of it. And they should just sleep through it.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't always realize that just a simple movie like a Disney movie
Yeah.
could do you remember the first Disney movie that gave you bad dreams? Because I do.
What was it?
Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the scene that freaked you out and then you had bad dreams about it for a very long time?
Was it the one with the snow monster thing?
Yes. It was only about 30 seconds of the whole movie, and they were throwing was it Anna out of the ice castle?
Yeah.
And that short little bleep in that movie completely freaked you out,
Yep.
and you had bad dreams for a very
And
long time.
also, I'm still a little scared of like if you go to Disney and you go on the Frozen ride, there's that part on the ride where you see the monster and it throws stuff at you. Well, it like fake throws stuff at you. I'm still a little freaked out by that.
I don't even remember that. Yeah, so sometimes it seems like a movie that is kid-friendly, but it can give kids dreams. And then the other thing that can give kids bad dreams is books, right?
Yeah, that's why I like to make sure that I always have books that I know aren't super scary. That's why I don't check out any scary books. And also, I go to a school and the books are just fit for kids, and there aren't a lot of scary books.
And if you started to watch something or read something that you realized, "Oh gosh, this might make me worry," would you stop?
Definitely. I would stop it as soon as possible so that I don't see something that makes me worry more.
Yeah, so it's probably helpful if parents start to understand what triggers those nightmares for their kids and then helps their kids understand it because that's something I think you're really good at doing is knowing if you're watching something or reading something and realizing, "Oh no, this isn't a good idea."
Yeah, normally for me, I get freaked out with a lot of movies. Sometimes my sister wants to watch a movie and I'm like, I don't know. Let's see the trailer. She always just wants to start watching it. Sometimes we see the trailer and we're like, yes, this is too scary.
Yeah, which is another interesting point because Ainsley does not get worried very easily.
No.
And so every kid, even in the same family, and it doesn't matter if you're older or younger, every kid's a little different with what makes them worry, right?
Yes. Because Ainsley, she's 7 and she's more like brave than me
On some things.
on some things.
Things that would make her have nightmares. They don't really bother her. But you're brave too.
Yeah. I'm brave when it comes to like physical stuff.
Yeah. Yes. That's right. All right. So Halloween is coming up. Anything that you think the parents should keep in mind to help their kids avoid having nightmares or fears around Halloween time?
I think they should know that if they see someone like dressed up as something that you think might have freaked them out a little bit, you should tell them that costumes are costumes and it's Halloween, so people are trying to scare you. And that monsters aren't real if they think that they see a monster, and ghosts aren't real, and a bunch of these things that you see in movies aren't real, and dreams aren't real either.
That's right. It's kind of all pretend or all in our
Yeah.
imaginations, right?
Yep.
All right, let's just talk a little bit about sleep here before we wrap up. Do you know why it's important for kids to get the right amount or get enough sleep?
Oh, yes. It's very important because if you don't get the right amount or any sleep, then you could go cuckoo bananas. You would not be able to focus in school. Or if you have like a sport that day, you'd probably mess up because one time when my mom was a kid, she was at a sleepover at her friend's house and she stayed up very late and she had a horse riding thing the next day, so she fell off her horse
Twice.
twice
In the same day.
in the same day.
In front of a whole crowd. You really wanted to share that story, huh? Yeah, I try to help you learn from my mistakes. And are you grumpy sometimes when you don't get enough sleep?
Maybe.
Don't want to admit that? And I know that you know, because we talk about it sometimes, that sleep isn't always easy for you.
No.
And I mean, shoot, you're the inspiration for my whole business. Because of you, I learned so much about sleep. So, what do you think is the hardest or most annoying thing about sleep?
For me is not being able to eat sugar before bed because then you stay up for a long time. Because one time I was at like Fridays after 5, if you know what that is, and I had a soda and I think I had something else. And when I came home, it was past my bedtime, so I went to bed as quickly as possible. Another thing that might have caused me to stay up like the whole night was because I went to bed past my bedtime.
And you were running around all over
Yes,
that
and
concert
I was running
venue.
around. So that concert was the worst.
It was like the perfect storm.
Yeah, it was.
You were running around.
Yes.
You were out past your bedtime.
Yep.
You had soda and I think a dessert.
Yeah.
And it took you hours to fall asleep.
I got 4 hours of sleep, maybe.
I don't know about that, but you were very unhappy and you were having a very hard time falling asleep. Did you wake up during the night too?
Yes, I got up and then fell back asleep, got up and fell back asleep. And if that has happened to you, you know how exhausting that is.
It's very annoying. And so we just kind of learn from those things, don't we?
Yep.
We try to understand why that happened, try to change course. But do we also know that we're not going to sleep perfectly every night, right?
No, but my sister does.
Yeah, she's a very good sleeper. She's very naturally inclined to sleep. But you and I have to work a little harder at our sleep. Right? And it's okay to not have a perfect night's sleep all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the frustrating things about sleep. We got to keep it real here with all the parents because everyone's sleep's not going to be perfect. What do you think the best thing is about sleep?
I think the best thing about sleep is that your body is able to refresh after a long, tiring day, ready for a new day, ready for a good day, or maybe a bad day, but your body's ready for anything once you sleep.
And everything's a little bit easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Way easier.
Well, speaking of bedtime, it's kind of time for you to get ready for bed, huh? We're doing this here on a Sunday night.
Yep.
And we don't want you to go to bed late.
No, I have school tomorrow. Don't want to be grumpy.
Don't be grumpy. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Sweet Pea. I love you to the moon and back.
You too, Mommy.
Isn't she the sweetest? I hope you found her suggestions helpful as you think about talking to your own children about nighttime worries and fears. If you have a child who is struggling with bedtimes or nighttime fears, check out my preschool sleep program that's called Your Preschool Sleep Champion. For just $99, I give you all the tools you need for smoother bedtimes and full nights of sleep. You'll also be provided with specific language to use around nighttime fears and nightmares. I'll link to the info page in the show notes, or you can visit AllisonEgidi.com/your-preschool-sleep-champion. All right, thanks for listening, and I hope you'll join me again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.